Welcome to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, bringing baby boomers proven strategies and innovative products for getting fit, staying fit, so you can live a longer, healthier, and happier life. Here's your host, best-selling author and fitness advocate, Phil Ferris.
This is Phil Ferris, and welcome to our show. Never Too Late for Fitness Radio provides answers and straight talk about fitness, nutrition, and healthy lifestyles for people over 50. Our goal is to educate and advocate health and fitness strategies that help you live a longer, healthier, and happier life. On some shows, we feature everyday people who have acted and reclaimed their health and fitness. We all love a success story, especially if the person is facing the same challenges we are. Hearing real success stories helps inform, motivate, inspire us to a healthier life. On other shows like today's, we focus on companies or fitness industry professionals who share how they help their clients over 50 achieve their fitness goals. As I've mentioned on shows before, the major problems associated with aging are due to a condition called sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle. Without proper exercise, a person will lose about a pound of muscle each year after the age of 35. This loss of muscle is usually also accompanied by an equal to greater increase in body fat. The decrease in muscle tissue is the underlying cause of the loss of bone mineral density, loss of balance, inability to carry out the activities of daily life, and ultimately deterioration of all the systems that support the mechanical functioning of the muscles, like the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, etc. The good news for people facing this dilemma is the fact that as older people are introduced to proper exercise, they can quickly regain lost strength. Also, as they regain strength, all their functional capabilities such as balance, gait, and cardiovascular efficiency will track with the improvements in strength. My guest today is Brian Cygan, founder and CEO of The Exercise Coach, a technology-driven, paradigm-shifting fitness franchise. He has over 16 years' experience in the fitness industry as a personal trainer and entrepreneur. The Exercise Coach is designed to be the perfect fit for the 85% of the people conventional fitness wisdom has failed. They specialize in helping people who are busy, afraid of getting hurt, sick of gyms, and those who just plain hate to exercise. If this sounds like you or someone you love, stay tuned. The Exercise Coach is pioneering a paradigm shift in fitness based on the science which proves muscle quality matters more than movement quantity. Through a one-of-a-kind, bio-customized training process, their clients achieve the results that matter most to them with just 2 20-minute workouts per week. Since 2010, they have made their proven fitness and business model available as a franchise to financially qualified and intellectually astute individuals who are interested in making a difference in people's lives. The franchise system is driven by a vision to be the world's foremost personal fitness business, and it's fueled by the belief that we should be. With over 40 locations nationally, they're well on their way. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today.
Thank you, Phil. My pleasure, and I appreciate that intro, and couldn't have said any of it better myself.
Thank you. Now, Brian, in order for our listeners to get an understanding of how far the Exercise Coach has come in the last few years, can you tell us about your fitness background and how you came to start the Exercise Coach?
Sure. I've always been interested in fitness and in particular in strength and conditioning in preparation for athletics. I played Division I baseball and competed in various powerlifting events, etc. But more importantly, I really became interested in the science of exercise. And so I studied exercise physiology in school, and it really became a passion of mine to pursue what would be the pinnacle application of the exercise science that I had studied. And so this meant, what would be the best way to exercise and preserve safety at all times. What would be the best application of exercise science to make exercise as efficient as possible, and what would bring about the best results? And so really around the year 2000, I started to gain the methodological understanding that I have today, and started to pursue a career in fitness leadership, applying these principles that I had learned, always with a view to the future that included the use of technology that I had come to realize would make safety and effectiveness and efficiency something that could be optimally delivered and something that could be scaled in a very standardized way across the nation. Because I was finding that I could get the average person really life-changing benefits with very, very small investments of time, and came to believe that this was simply something that we had to offer at a larger scale around the country someday. And fast forward, as you say, 17 years later, and here we are today doing that across the country and helping thousands of people experience the results that really mean the most to them.
Well, that's an impressive story. I appreciate you sharing that. But now I'd like to focus a little bit on your clients. Can you tell me who they are and what type of fitness challenges they're facing?
Sure. I would summarize by saying that our clients are people primarily in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who are just looking for a smarter alternative to the mainstream fitness approach. And they're people who aren't looking for an entire lifestyle to adopt. They're not, they don't want to have to become a fitness fanatic. They just want real results. And they have busy lifestyles. They've got a lot of responsibilities, whether it's with their own children or with their parents or work or the many things that keep us all busy in this culture today. And many of them also, being in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, have physical challenges, things that they'd perceive as limitations and reasons why they believe that the conventional approach is just not something that's going to work for them. And so these are the folks that we've spent literally the last 17 years helping, in particular, get those great results.
When you mentioned that they had limitations or the perceived limitation, what would be some of those that are common to most of your clients?
Sure. Things like low back pain, knee pain. People have had, knee surgeries, either replacements or reconstructions. Things like arthritis. Basically, I would say a large category would be just orthopedic roadblocks, things that orthopedically or from a musculoskeletal standpoint make exertion less likely to be something that is comfortable for someone. And then the other barriers would be just being deconditioned to the point of feeling almost too far out of shape to start exercising and get in shape. And so we end up with the people who really can benefit the most from intelligent exercise feeling in a way disqualified from intelligent exercise because of either one, the time commitment required, they don't have 5 days a week that they can commit to it, or sort of the emphasis on movement and on the amount of exercise being something that leads them to believe, well, I'm disqualified from the start because I can't go out and run 45 minutes because of my back or my knee. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. And so they continue to not work out, and they continue to be deconditioned. So when they come to you, what's their biggest expectation?
Sure. Well, many, I think, don't know exactly what to expect, and that's part of the challenge is helping people understand that they can actually expect to significantly reverse the effects of aging, and they can actually expect to address the fitness and medical conditions that mean the most to their functional longevity. Unfortunately, many people are expecting to show up and find that we are going to expect more of them than they're willing to give, either from an effort standpoint or from a time standpoint, or that they're going to find people that don't really understand where they're coming from. And what they find is exactly the opposite. We are really passionate at the Exercise Coach about being the perfect fit for people that aren't part of the 20% of the population that conventional fitness is more ideal for. And they find caring, knowledgeable professionals who actually are excited when we hear on the other side of the other end of the phone that someone, is out of shape, is maybe a little intimidated or not real confident about getting started with the program, because we know that we can really help this person and plug them into all of the power of exercise that all of the exercise enthusiasts are experiencing without having to require them to really overhaul their entire lifestyle.
Okay, and that's very encouraging. In the intro, I talked about the impact sarcopenia has on people as they get older. How does your program help people over 50 combat the effects of sarcopenia and build muscle?
Great question. So, first of all, I think it's important when we talk about sarcopenia to get even more specific about what it is that we're losing. Everyone's heard sort of the axiom that you use it or you lose it in reference to muscle, right? I like to say that science actually shows you can use it, that is your muscle, and still lose it. And what I mean by that is we all get out of bed in the morning, if we're fortunate enough to do so, and we move. And by the time we've eaten breakfast, we've used most of the muscles in our body in some way. The reality is it's a specific type of muscle or muscle fiber that people are losing as they age. This is known as white or type 2 or fast twitch muscle fibers. And it's actually this loss of fast twitch muscle fibers that is what sarcopenia is all about. Your endurance fibers, your slow twitch fibers, are fibers that can be maintained just through activities of daily living for the most part. However, a more structured, more intentional, and more meaningful approach to preventing muscle loss is necessary to actually stop and reverse the loss of fast twitch muscle fibers. And that's exactly what our program is designed to do through safe and efficient and structured resistance training.
Okay, so we can agree that strength training, and specifically that will address building the fast twitch muscles, is necessary to combat sarcopenia. Now, you claim that you can get the same benefits of being in a gym for hours with just 2 20-minute workouts a week. How can you make that kind of a claim?
Sure. And after nearly 20 years of doing so and helping thousands and thousands of people, it's always so exciting to me when someone does say to us, how in the world can that be? Because it just means we've still got a lot of field to plow, a lot of people to inspire and reach, because we've actually been doing this for a pretty long time. And certainly through our own experience, we can demonstrate this claim, but there's also plenty of research, and it's just been mounting over the past decade, demonstrating that when we look at the outcomes that we want from exercise, and that's really what I'm talking about. I'm saying that whether it's, what specific outcomes are we talking about? Do we want improved blood pressure? Do we want improved glucose metabolism? Do we want reduced systemic inflammation? Do we want improved bone density? Are we looking for overall weight loss? All of these things can be achieved with surprisingly brief exercise done very, very infrequently. And all of these can actually be achieved through a strength-based approach to exercise, which allows us to apply exercise in a very safe and joint-friendly way, and also in a very, very efficient manner, once or twice a week, really, to bring about these results. We also have on our website at exercisecoach.com, you can look at scientific support that we have on our website. And some of the most important support would be related to glucose control and reduced systemic inflammation. And we see that the anti-inflammatory effect of brief exercise is even independent of changes in weight, for example. And then when we talk about weight, we, for example, at the beginning of this year, it's that time of year when everyone's thinking about their weight, right? And so we ran a program across the country, and in just 30 days, through a combination of brief whole effort exercise and sensible whole food nutrition, we helped people across the country, men, lose up to 7% or more, actually quite a bit more in some cases, of their body weight in just 30 days, and women 5% or more consistently. People who finished the program saw these types of changes. And so it always just comes back to, are we achieving the desired outcome, and what was necessary to make that happen? And we've just proven for years, time and time again, that 20 minutes once or twice a week from the exercise component standpoint is all that it takes.
Now, let me drill down a little bit, if I can, in terms of those 20 minutes. Most people, when they think about strength training, they think about doing bench presses with weights and squats and 3 sets of 10 or 5 sets of 10, and they have all sorts of images of lifting lots and lots of weights in order to get that impact. How is your 20-minute workout different than that typical weight training program that most people have in their mind?
Sure. It's just really sort of laser guided. It's data driven and designed to deliver right intensity strength training, meaning perfectly personalized for each individual. And what our methodology is based on is, again, kind of a classical understanding of exercise physiology and something known as the size principle of muscle fiber or motor unit recruitment. And the size principle basically says that in order to recruit these high threshold, high force producing muscle fibers, or these fast twitch muscle fibers, which are those fibers that we're actually losing as we age if we don't do something about it, in order to do that, there's a certain threshold level of muscular loading or resistance that has to be applied, and sort of a threshold level of fatigue accumulated across those exercise sets. And our technology actually allows us to measure each individual's unique makeup related to their strength and fitness. And then our software actually tells us exactly how much resistance to make available to them so that they can apply the ideal exercise stimulus, and then gives them feedback every second of every repetition so that they can stay on track towards those results that they're looking for. And so it's just a matter of, can you get results using 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10, spending hours in the gym? You can, and many young athletes do. But I would say, when I look at science and our experience, that those results are actually not necessarily because of the many hours in the gym they spend, but in spite of the many hours in the gym that they spend. And we've simply found that it's a matter of turning on the adaptations that we want the body to make through just the right amount of exercise, and then letting the body do the rest of the work, letting it recover and actually grow stronger and more fit as a result of that stimulus.
Okay, so I get, because I've heard many times that people will say if you're doing, let's say, 3 sets of 10, that it's the last 2 or 3 reps of the third set that actually give you results, because that's where your muscle is reaching a state of failure or fatigue, and it has to exert more effort to do it than it has in the past, and therefore that's where the growth comes from. So what you're saying is you're able to get to that point a lot quicker using your machines with your technology. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think there's two important points to make. One, you started to touch on the time component, and if you look at how the average person might perform 3 sets of 10 reps, they might take a second to lift the weight and a second to lower the weight. And so they perform a 20-second exercise set, and then they set the resistance down and go get a drink. And so it's like they dug a little bit into their muscle in kind of a shallow way, and then they stopped, and then they walk away, and you and I both understand how quickly muscles actually recover from an energy standpoint in the moment. And so they come back and they perform that set again. And maybe they dig a little bit deeper with that second set, but again, 20 seconds of loading, and then they walk away. And so there's this recycling of muscle fibers, and basically the muscle is able to recover, and then you do it again. But you're not reaching deep. When we perform our sets, they're going to last somewhere between 60 and 120 seconds. So the interesting thing is, you look at one of our 20-minute workouts, and you can actually measure the time that someone spends under a quality muscular load, and then you can look at an hour-long workout in the gym and add up the time that someone spends under a quality muscular load, and we may actually end up spending more time doing meaningful exercise in 20 minutes than you would spend typically doing in an hour using fast repetitions and short sets and taking a lot of rest in between. And then the other thing that's different about our approach that's a significant advantage is the whole repetition nature of the strength training we perform thanks to our technology. And what I mean by that is your muscles can either shorten against a resistance or lengthen against a resistance. That's called a concentric or an eccentric muscle contraction or muscle action. And with traditional approaches, whether it's a weight or it's body weight, you really can't take advantage in a safe, practical way of the eccentric or the lengthening loading of a muscle. And what research has shown is that's really quite a jackpot of physiological results that can be had. Our technology actually delivers precisely the right resistance, both when you're lengthening and shortening your muscles, and so it simply has a more profound effect, and a more minimal dose is able to bring about complete exercise effects and whole body adaptations.
So as I work out, I can actually see how much force during the entire range of motion, how much force I'm putting out, and that's kind of unique to my particular effort in that exercise. Is that correct?
Absolutely. The technology removes any guesswork so that you can see exactly what you need to do per our smart prescription to apply an effective dose of exercise in the moment. And there's also a strong motivational element, when people see that, well, based on my analysis, I know that I can reach this, and towards the end of an exercise set, when fatigue starts to set in, and we're mentally challenged to continue that set, they've got that visual and they've got that feedback, and people tell us all the time that without that visual feedback, there's no way that they would give the same kind of meaningful and effective effort that they give with that digital feedback.
And I guess another benefit of that is the ongoing feedback is in order to get the maximum load that you want, the ideal prescriptive load, you need to push yourself. A lot of times people go in the gym and they'll see, they pick up 10-pound weights and they do their 10 curls and they're done. And yet they aren't really consciously trying to force the muscle to get into that adaptive mode. But you're saying with your data, they have a real time of what they're doing, how much effort they're actually putting out. That also brings a question. I guess then if they're getting stronger each week or each month, they would be able to see their results improving over time. Is that also correct?
Absolutely. In fact, every session, they're able to see both their coach and the client see in real time how they did compared to last time. And yes, one of the most important principles in exercise science is that of progressive overload. In order to keep your body improving and keep you reaching towards your maximum potential from session to session, from week to week, from month to month, we need to progressively be trying to nudge you a little bit further than before. And the technology and data allow us to do that in a very precise way, where we can from week to week just make a small improvement and know that we're progressing. And that's also very, very motivating. And you hit it right on the head. In order to bring about real change, in order to get real results, in order to realize your potential, you've got to put forth an adequate effort. And what's amazing is that if you looked at the people who we have as clients across the country, men and women in their 50s, men and women in their 70s, even in their 80s, it really is quite remarkable the level of effort that we are all capable of putting forth. It's just a matter of knowing that you can and having a structured and a very, very clear, having very, very clear direction for how to do that safely. That's exactly what our program and our framework does. Because I know there's many professionals who fall off onto one side of the saddle. Either they're indiscriminately throwing too much intensity at people, or they're saying, well, I don't want to overwork this person, so we're going to kind of go through the motions here a little bit and maybe kind of play a little patty cake. And so we're able to actually dial in exactly the optimal effort that someone needs to put forth to get the best results. And you know what? People can do it. We really don't meet people who aren't capable of putting forth that high effort that your research has shown is necessary to get the best results. They can absolutely do it when we make it clear, and then when they realize, well, wait a second, the trade-off is this. If I put forth that high effort, I don't have to do it for very long. And our clients say all the time, we hear this, day in and day out, you can do anything for 20 minutes, and you really can.
Okay. Well, Brian, let me ask you this. This is kind of a detailed question, but what if a client doesn't improve from 1 week to the next? How do you use that information, and how do clients react to the fact that, whoops, they fell a little short?
Sure. Great question. We've got to ask questions. In this day and age, we talk a lot about data, and data is just that until it's interpreted and becomes information. And for that to happen, we've really got to contextualize through questioning. And so some of the questions you would ask in a situation like that is what is the training status of this person? Have they been training for a very long time, and are they approaching their genetic ceiling? Or have they been training for a short period of time, and really should we be expecting more improvement from week to week? And if that's the case, have they been given adequate recovery? Is their nutrition adequate? Is their sleep adequate? Are they under a lot of stress? We actually require of our clients a minimum of 48 hours of recovery between sessions. But as they progress and as they near their potential and improve their ability to exert they actually need a little bit more time sometimes to fully recover. And it may be that they need a minimum of 72 hours between sessions, or in some cases even 96 or more. And so we're gonna ask questions and try to figure out, why exactly we didn't see that improvement. And sometimes it's just a matter of variations that take place from day to day or week to week in our lives. And if we stay the course, we'll start to see that improvement. Even if you looked at your weight, for example, on a scale, I mean, every factor that we would track related to health and fitness, when we're improving it even, is generally going to take on kind of a sawtooth pattern. You're going to see some peaks and you're going to see valleys. So it's not always critical that every single time we see improvement, but it's really the trend over time. And so from one workout to the next, if we see, you held your ground or you couldn't quite hit what you hit last time, that's okay. It's over the course of several weeks, do we see that turn into a trend that is upward or stable or downward that really begins to inform whether or not we need to make some kind of changes or investigate, a little bit deeper into the recovery strategies, that this client's employing.
That kind of points out, Brian, another key benefit that you have is that when clients work out with the exercise coach, they're there with a personal trainer walking them through. And so those questions you talked about, they're going to be someone that's knowledgeable that can ask those questions so that the client isn't left to their own, oh my gosh, I failed. This is data. This is a piece of information that can use to help you get better very precisely as opposed to generally. And that's why you have your trainers working with them when they work out. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Our coaches are really sort of supercharged fitness analysts in a way, and instructors. And they use that data to guide people's programs. And absolutely, they're there as a source of motivation and education and sometimes perspective. Whether it's stepping on the scale one day or it's your numbers in a workout on one day, we've got to help people put that in context. And it's very easy to get down when we don't see exactly what we want to see today. But this is a little bit longer term, a little bit longer term strategy and task to get in the best shape possible and stay in the best shape possible. So we help people understand exactly how they should interpret things, and we're there to motivate and encourage.
Okay. Now, I noticed I've been in some of your studios, and I see that you don't have rows and rows and rows of cardio machines and ellipticals like most gyms and health clubs. Don't you believe in cardio?
Yeah, absolutely. And we get asked that question, and I'll often point out, first of all, that there's really that I don't know what cardio means. And I'll point out that if we're talking about cardiovascular, then that's an adjective. And then we've got to ask, what is it modifying? Are we talking about cardiovascular fitness? I believe in and want it for people. Cardiovascular health, that's something different. We absolutely want it for people. Cardiovascular conditioning is yet something else. And so what we want for people is we obviously want to help them achieve and maintain optimal cardiovascular health and fitness. And we do that through, again, having an impact on the actual outcomes that are risk factors for cardiovascular health. And so when we see improved blood pressure and improved blood sugar and reduced systemic inflammation, when we achieve these things, we are absolutely achieving better cardiovascular health, which is really speaking to the function of the cardiovascular system in the absence of disease or pathology. cardiovascular fitness is really about performing work. And so when it comes to cardiovascular fitness, we recognize that the heart and the lungs are these pumps that respond to the muscles' work. They exist to serve the working muscles, and they respond to the demands being placed on the muscles at any given moment. And so the best way to apply a cardiovascular conditioning stimulus, in fact, the only way to apply a cardiovascular conditioning stimulus, is to do muscular work. And what we're saying is our ability to apply meaningful muscular work during strength training actually delivers a profound cardiovascular stimulus that people are surprised by. And it's obvious when they begin to breathe heavier and their heart starts to beat faster, they recognize, wait a second, this is actually a cardiovascular activity, even though we're calling it strength training. And in addition to the strength training, we also tend to leverage several minutes of what's come to be known as high-intensity interval training as well. And again, there's just been mounds of research in the past few years that have shown that what we call concentrated cardio, just a few minutes of it, can be actually more effective than hour-long conventional cardio. And we've developed protocols that make high-intensity interval training approachable and more comfortable for the average person to employ. So again, it's something that they can do.
Again, going on the efficiency and effectiveness in a shorter dose to get what you want, as opposed to I got to put an hour on the treadmill because that's what everybody else does. You're looking at what does it take to get the results I want, do it in the shortest amount of time so that people can get the workout in, get the benefits they want, and then go on about their lives.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Now, Brian, you're a franchise business with over 40 locations across the country. How do you make sure that a client that goes into your Lake Zurich location gets the same quality workout as someone that may go to one in another city?
Sure. It's all about actually having a paradigm, a framework that's principled and guides what we do. And I like to say that we have a unique and well-defined and guiding philosophy and methodology and technology. And so those are the three things that all of our studios across the country are trained and certified in. And then we have team leaders at these studios across the country that are there to just ensure that that studio is adhering to, is operating within the framework that we've laid out. And they do an excellent job of that. And so everything at every studio is first and foremost about being passionate about being an inviting place, a place, where people can come regardless of their current fitness condition, and being passionate about safe, effective, efficient exercise and the importance of muscle and the fact that strength changes everything, and then delivering optimal results using the technology protocols that we've created and trained them in to make the exercises as efficient as possible, as effective as possible, and really as standardized as possible. And that standardization includes a deep personalization for each client, and also some variety or novelty that's periodically infused into workouts. It's just that everything that we would do would always adhere to our overall philosophy and the general methodological framework that we teach.
Thank you. That makes sense to me. Brian, we covered a lot so far today. To make sure that we cover everything important, what is one thing that we may not have covered that you would share with someone who's over 50 who's considering starting an exercise or fitness program?
Sure. Just that they can do it. That you can achieve so much in such a small amount of time, and we've got thousands of clients across the country, and many, if not most of them, would say this. They would say, "This is the first thing I've ever done. This is the first exercise program I've ever done that I actually enjoy and can stick with." And so if we're helping that many people across the country recognize that they too can actually tap into the powerful benefits of exercise, even though they're busy, and even though they're feeling pretty out of shape to begin with, I guess I would just say to people that they need to that I want them to know that they too can do this. Our clients are people who have come to us, with maybe 20 or 50 or even more pounds that they need to lose, and they've come to us basically saying, I haven't exercised for decades, or I never have in my whole life, and we can literally meet them in day one. We can very safely and comfortably connect them with the type of exercise that we're going to do. And we offer free personalized demo sessions for anyone to come in and try the exercise coach, because we know that it's something you kind of have to see and feel to understand and believe. And we affectionately call that the light bulb moment. And it's where we have people come on in and we tell them a little bit more about our program, find out about them and their goals and their past experience with exercise and any concerns that they might have. And then day one, we bring them into the training area for just a very brief introduction to the exercise coach style of working out. And within minutes, they will feel that they've experienced deeply effective exercise that they can do. And we love when people, touch their thigh or their arm and say, "I feel that in my muscle like I've never felt before, but I don't feel it in my joints." And you can just see them, you can just see the light bulb going off, and you can see them realizing even within minutes that this is different, this is something that they can do, and this is something that they actually believe could be the one thing that finally puts them on the right path to really fighting the aging process and getting back in great shape and maintaining their health and having an active life.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, thank you, Brian, for sharing your story of the exercise coach. You're kind of a welcome relief for the 85% of the population who want the benefits of fitness but are busy, afraid of getting hurt, sick of gyms, or those who just plain hate to exercise. If my listeners want to learn more about the exercise coach or take you up on their trial offer, where should they go?
Exercisecoach.com. And there's a locator on the website so that they can find the exercise coach studio that's closest to them. And those studios all across the country all offer free personalized demo sessions. And I would just encourage them to check out exercisecoach.com and look for the location nearest them. And anyone who's interested in the unique exercise coach business opportunity can also visit exercisecoach.com to get more information about franchising.
Well, that's great. Well, Brian, it's really been a pleasure learning about the exercise coach and your journey to helping people get fit and stay fit. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to have you have a great day.
Oh, thanks, Phil. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate your program, and it's inspiring. And keep up the good work and getting the message out that it's never too late. I love your message.
You've been listening to Never Too Late for Fitness Radio, hosted by Phil Ferris. To learn more about the guests or resources on our show today, or to listen to past episodes, go to nevertoolateforfitness.com.